Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of It Starts With Action. This episode was, we didn't plan this because I did this with my friend Ejaz and it was supposed to be him, we were supposed to talk about him, but actually this episode ended up, it's actually really good, like it's basically about my story, but we also talked in between about lots of many other lessons that we learned along the way, and like it's definitely a good one to listen to, I would say, and if you are interested in like, you know, story times and go and grab some popcorn or something, and yeah, let's just get into it. Well, hi everyone, welcome to another episode of It Starts With Action, and today I have Ejaz with me, who was before on the 5-Way podcast, and also LSE offer, so maybe we're in the same uni, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Well, we'll see about the results today, but you know.
I honestly can't believe it's July.
Because... I know, like, it's actually, the time has gone by so fast. Like, it's been the quickest but longest lockdown, like, ever. Like, and then what, results day is like, what, 39 days or something like that? Like, from when we record this anyway.
Oh, like,
yeah.
39 days.
Sorry to kind of put that back in your mind.
Have you been counting down? I haven't been counting down.
No, it's just because I was like speaking about it yesterday. I was just like, oh my god, it's getting nearer. It's getting nearer. I don't even want to think about it. I'm not gonna lie to you. But yeah.
But yeah, the topic of the podcast is not about results day. It's not about exams. The last topic will be about exams. So can you tell everyone a bit about yourself in terms of your interests? Because we're both going to do economics. So how did your decision for economics come from? Or if you have any other interests?
Yeah. So, well, hi, I'm Ejaz, if you didn't know already. In terms of my interest, like, I think it varies a lot. So in terms of like academic interest, obviously economics, it's like, obviously like don't worry, I'm not the cliche person to say, oh yeah, ever since I was 5 years old, I've been into economics. No. I guess it's like, it just kind of just started from like GCSE. Like, for me, I always love to see the way the world works, like the kind of intricacies of everything. And also I was kind of good at economics. I thought, you know what, let me just ride with it, see how it goes. And yeah, just like, I don't know, I guess like economics is so like, how do I say, like so applicable like everywhere. Like it opens a lot of doors. So because that's the thing, because I'm not 100% sure about what I actually want to go into. I just know my interests, but not, you know, what I actually want to go into. So I guess like I'm just kind of latching onto economics to kind of see where it leads me, you know. And then in terms of like outside interests, like obviously love me a bit of like sports, pretty much every sport you'll see me playing. So it's just sad that this lockdown I've been like trapped inside, not being able to play it. So that's kind of driven me insane a bit.
What kind of sports?
Okay, so obviously, you know, classic football, whatever. Like literally, I used to go out with my friends all the time playing football, basketball, tennis. Yeah, like pretty much anything you can name of, I played it. How about you? Did you like? Are you?
I used to be on the volleyball team when I was in Hong Kong, but like when I came back to the UK, literally no one really plays volleyball. I kind of stopped, and yeah, I kind of miss it, but at the same time, I forgot everything. But I do want to get back to it. Maybe one day.
All you see is like, forget this podcast. You're going to become a professional volleyball player. There you go.
That's one in the team. But yeah, I do like sports. I think it's a good way to de-stress. I feel like I'm so bad with planning when I do it with friends, because I feel like it's going to be a chat, but actually no, it's a podcast. So
see, that's the thing. Like, we'll talk like so naturally about other topics that we think that, you know, like for example, which like what we're going to get into coding, which is interesting. We could talk about that, you know, because that's an interesting thing, huh?
Yeah, we could talk about that, and just because I guess it's something new that we're trying, and well, I have no background tech or anything, but we've heard that it's important, and it's also looks, I mean, to me, it looks kind of fun in terms of what you can do with it. It's like limitless.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, yeah, like with kind of coding, like, I remember I used to do back in like GCSE, but I had no clue what I was doing. I was just kind of just going along the wave, and then what I could do is like print "Hello World." That's where my knowledge starts.
It always starts with like "Hello World," doesn't it?
It was "Hello World." So yeah, I think, to be honest, like one of the main reasons, like it's not even for the fact that it's useful, it's the fact that it's like a challenge for me, you know, like that, like I've always like everything that I've done in this lockdown has always been a challenge. Like I don't like to shy away from those kind of things. Like that's what I really feel like. Again, it starts with action. Just, you know, we're gonna plug that like 500 times in this podcast, and I don't care. So sorry to any listeners if they just keep me keep hearing me say that. But yeah, like with coding, like literally, we both have, you know, literally no background in it, probably, like, basically, and I still haven't even like looked into it properly. Like I think it's going to be interesting to see what projects we come up with. You know, do you have any ideas like what you want to do with it?
Yesterday I was talking, because I have this like, you know, coaching training, and I was coaching this girl who wants to change her career from doing tech to going to more like in the coaching side of prisons, because she really cares about how prisoners don't have the opportunity to
like rehabilitate kind of thing.
Yeah, lots of them have a tragic story behind it, and it starts from like childhood, and it's not exactly 100% their fault. And so she wants to basically change her career to create more impact, as opposed to like having money and stuff. And then that's unrelated. But then like kind of imagine if there was an app that could connect prisoners to people in the outside world, because prisoners feel very alone all the time and just like forgotten. And then it'd be so cool. There's like an app that kind of connects them, and then, but then at the same time, I kind of completely neglected all the legal side of things.
Yeah, like, just like imagine like all the prisoners just have like phones.
They've got phones in prisons, and like, what are they going to talk about? The content and stuff. But like,
to be fair, I think you raise a great point, because a lot of us were kind of like stuck in our own bubble, like in the sense of like we just see the world just from like an isolated point of view. You know, we just see it, like going from school to uni to the working world, and we neglect what's going on the outside. Like we connect what's going on in other countries. I think that's like, it was one of your posts, like I think recently, about like being grateful, I think, or like like that. I think that's like something that's so underrated. Like we always chase for something that's like, you know, like really massive, like a massive goal, and then if we don't reach it, we suddenly, you know, feel down about ourselves. But when we kind of, I think with like comparison, I think we compare in the wrong way. We should kind of compare to people that that are less fortunate than us, so then we can really realize how, you know, lucky we have things, and what we can actually do to make that impact, you know. Because I feel like a lot of us, we just obsess over, I don't know, let's say like a Gary Vee or, you know, whoever, and we think, oh yeah, I want to be like that. But for me, sometimes it's just good to just step back and think, wait a second, I am like in the like lucky 0.1% in the entire world to be in this position, and I actually want to make impact. And I think that's what kind of drives me. Like for me, money is like the least of my worries. Like I couldn't give two craps about money. I can't lie to you. Like a lot, you know, everyone's kind of like wants to go, especially because we're hopefully both getting LSE. Like you see half of our cohort is just going into like investment banking.
Yeah, I know. It's like, every time I talk about, I'm going to get into, but I have an offer from LSE, and then they're like, oh, the best high-paying like university, you're going to be ultra rich, you're going to be an investment banker. Like they immediately make that assumption that I'm going to go into investment banking, I'm going to be an ultra rich woman who just doesn't care about anything but money.
Like cold-hearted, just presence. Like it doesn't start with action, it starts with money. That should be the new title.
Like honestly, like every time I talk LS, like not every time, but like most times when I talk about LSE to people who don't know me, they immediately make the assumption that, okay, I'm going to be a woman investment banker, and I'm going to be really rich, but I'm also really cold-hearted, and I don't care about anything but money. And I'm doing economics. Is like,
sounds like the present sign though. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
I'm not going to post this podcast.
There you go. That's it. It's game over, guys. Sorry, I messed up. But yeah, like, do you know, I actually wanted to ask you, because there's obviously like a lot of kind of, I guess, like rumors, like myths and like misconceptions about LSE. Like obviously it is true that it is so like investment bank heavy, and it's like very career heavy, and it seems that there's quite a lot of, you know, academic pressure on you. Do you feel like, because obviously like, you know, just from us like speaking to each other, we know we're kind of both different from that side. Do you feel like you might lose your identity when you're there? Like, what do you think about that?
You asking me questions.
Hey, no. That's the whole point of a podcast here. It's not just literally you answer me.
Yeah.
I want to know.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I've been there before, where I have had like from the age of 9 to 17, I I've experienced losing my identity and completely being a different person. And I know how that feels. So I'm very aware of that, and it's the last thing I ever want to happen again. Because when I was young, like before 9, I was always this bubbly child, had an amazing childhood, play games. I'm always the mother of the game. And then I lost that when I moved to Hong Kong. I was always in the back of the corner, never talking. And I just never felt like myself, but that became my new identity in a way. And then like now I feel more myself again, and I don't want that to happen again. So I think I'll be extra careful.
Yeah, I think it's almost like you kind of like lost yourself and then found yourself, you know.
Yeah, and everyone goes through that process, and it's a good journey, I think, because then when you get back to who you are extra, you hold tight to that and never want to lose it again. So even if you do maybe like lose a bit of your identity, or like, I mean, it's okay to change. You might change to you might become this investment banker type, and you like, oh, actually, I like this super.
Yeah, don't worry. We're not bashing on investment bankers out there. Don't worry. Before we get like attacked, just like, and we're just like, hey, these people are hating, and then we get our LSE rejection offers. Anyway.
Oh my gosh! Should I be a bit more careful? Should we like call this just like mute all the LSE?
Yeah, just be like, just blank it out. We're we're talking about beep.
Yeah, but what was I saying again? Like, there's nothing wrong with wanting money and just like that being one priority, because without money, we don't actually want money. We want freedom.
That is a good way to frame it.
Yeah, so we kind of need the money to have the freedom, I guess, in this realistic world.
Yeah, I guess it's like, for me, it's just like, for me, I want money to be a byproduct of my desire to do something, as opposed to that is my goal. Do you get what I mean? Because again, like you said, like money gives you freedom, but then I want the freedom. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, I don't want to, because I feel like a lot of people, like, eventually they kind of get stuck in like a rut of they're earning like good money, like, I don't know, like something like 60, 70K a year. But then the hours are ridiculous. Like, it's just like really like draining. And for me, I guess like for me in the short term, that's fine. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I need a bit of money to get myself going. But
actually now I kind of need it. I'm not gonna lie.
Exactly. It's like, oh, I'm gonna be broke. I'm gonna be broke going into uni all my days. Anyway, like, but it's one of those things where I just want that to be like a short term thing. Like, I wouldn't want that to be my life. Like, because I see myself as like, I don't know, like quite a family oriented person. Like for me, that's honestly like, I would drop so many commitments for family. Like, I'm like, what I'm saying? Like, that's like kind of my main priority. And imagine I'm at like 30 years old, I'm working 12, 13 hours a day. Like, obviously I'll put the work in. That, don't get me wrong, that's a different story. But I think I want to get to a place where, again, like you said, I want to be financially free and free to do what I want, as opposed to stuck in the same 9 to 5. Or more like 9 to 9, more like, but
investment banking is like what, 6 to 2 maybe.
Yeah. Oh my days. I'm not gonna lie to you. I respect people that do investment banking highly, because like they have to put a shift in. Like that's like the main thing on the mind. And like, to be fair,
like family relationships, that's like not in the picture. It's only
it puts a strain on that. And I really respect the fact that they have to go through like 100 times more stress than us. I feel like, again, it's like one of those things where we only just see the hours, but we can't predict the future. That's how it's almost like everything looks good in hindsight. Like, for example, all these VPs and all these managing directors, they're probably obviously not chilling right now, but they're experiencing the fun side of their job because they put in that work and that grind. I guess people are scared of that.
Yeah, so I did a podcast with someone, and she is basically in the process of publishing a book about interviewing all the 100 top CEOs about their regrets. And everyone didn't have a career regret, but they all had a life regret about not going to some family's event, or about life and not really career wise. And that kind of I feel like it's good to know other people who are older, to their regrets, to make sure that to reevaluate what's important to me and to not end up having the same regrets. And for me, I won't lie, before I was because I live in a I'm always alone, and like family to me, although is important, I've never been someone who's close. Like the only person I really care about is my mum, and so as long as I have her in my life, then I feel like that's fine. Like,
so is there any like reason that you kind of like, is it that you like being alone, or is it like you're naturally alone? Like what's the kind, what kind of
I think it's just growing up. Like I grew up like, single parent, and then I move locations every 3 years. So for me to have friends, it was so hard because every time I would meet a bunch of good friends, I would move away. And at the time, I didn't really use social media, and I would never talk to them again. And then another 3 years, I meet a bunch of friends, and then I would go away again. So I'm like used to continually moving away from people, and I think that's kind of thinking about has conditioned my mind to believe that I will never make long-term friendships.
Hey, if you're saying that about us, that mate, I am holding you accountable.
I want to change.
Holding you accountable to that.
Like that's just been my life, just always moving away from people and moving schools. I've been to like nearly, I think 7 different schools. Wow. And so I've been really a deep, like, I don't know, I feel like I get attached to people quite quickly when I know that I like them. But then I also can detach really quickly at the same time, because I feel like I've done it so many times. But
I guess no. I think there's a lot of like things that you can take from that, because like barely anyone like I know has had that experience of moving around to so many different schools, both international basis and things like that. And it's really interesting you say that, because I guess in a way I'm kind of the same, but even though I haven't had that same experience, it's like it's one of those things where if like I kind of take hardship as it comes. Like if you get me, like I don't let it like bog me down. Like for example, let's say I've had like obviously everyone has had like friends that have like not betrayed them, but like kind of didn't expect them to do certain things. And I guess like for me, because that's happened so many times, you kind of just get, it's almost like I feel like you've become used to it. It sounds like bad, but it's like you've become used to it. But I guess there's a virtue in of itself in that, at least like for example, if anything bad happens to you, or if any friendships like go wrong, at least you don't get like so caught up in it that it derails your entire life. I feel like that's as kind of like harsh as it sounds, it's almost like a good thing to have. But then now I feel like hopefully we go to the same uni, and that doesn't happen because presidency, I'm holding you accountable. You ain't moving. You ain't leaving me alone.
No. I don't think I'll be moving for a long time now. I think
that's good. So that's the thing. Like, do you? Because it seems like your life has been dictated by uncertainty.
My whole life has been super uncertain. Like it was literally, I think I remember it was like a week decision that we decided to move from the UK to Hong Kong, and I just like had to drop all my old friends, and it was like one day, goodbye, I'm probably leaving the country and I'm probably never going to come back. And then when I was in Hong Kong, when I got into hospital, I never told anyone. Like I literally vanished from school one day and I never came back.
Right. Wait, like no warning, you were just like, yep, guys, I'm gone, you're just gone.
I didn't expect myself to get into hospital anyway, so it was, I still remember like 1 week before this like official, because in Hong Kong the like yearly celebration is really important, and it was 1 week before that, and I already knew like what I was going to do and stuff on the day, and then I ended up like in hospital, and it was, I feel like I was in a movie, where like you have someone,
it's like a third person, it's like you're like out of body experience you could see yourself in.
Like I don't want to say it's a romantic, like, it's not like, not in the romantic sense, but romantic movies where there's two people who fall in love, and then the girl or the guy suddenly vanishes, and then the girl or the boy is like, where are you? Something like that. I felt like that, but like I don't know,
kind of like that lost feeling kind of thing. Is that what you're trying to get to?
Kind of lost, but that's another rant. Sorry, I say too much.
No. Trust me. I'm telling you, people want to hear you, not me. I'm telling you that right now.
No,
that's the thing. That's the thing. Like with me is that whenever I have a conversation, I don't know. Like for me, my role when it comes to conversation is to listen, because I think a lot of people, they underrate that. Like like, for example, coming onto this podcast, like, I'm telling you, my intention was to get you to speak as much as possible. Yeah, that was my intention. Yeah, and it's working well. It's working quite well, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna say, because trust me, I'm learning a lot from this, because a lot of these things like, I haven't, even though we've spoken quite a lot, it's obviously those deeper things. They're hard to just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna speak about this now. You know, I like the way it kind of just flows in conversation. But I was gonna say, like, was there any reason why you had to move constantly, or was that something quite personal you don't want to go into?
I think it's more like my mum having to move house all the time, so I had no choice. The first one was because I didn't like the school, and then I didn't like the school, and it was really far away. I don't know why my mum decided to choose a school that was super far away, so there was a reason to move to a different school that's close to home. And then the other ones were also just moving house in general. So like, I had no choice but to like keep moving. So it's kind of weird that now I've also moved house for like 2 years, but basically in a different home every 2 years and 3 years. And I feel like now is, if I get into LSE, then I'm going to stay here where I am now. That's going to be like probably the longest time I've ever stayed in one location. And at first, like, it's weird, like in the beginning I was craving, like, I wanted to stability. And now that I have it, I'm like, I'm a bit bored.
You know, that reminds me of our 5-way podcast that we've done. And when you mentioned that you always want to like progress and not stay the same, and regardless of like, wasn't like, from what I implied, that regardless of whether that was good or bad, because you're still going on that journey, you know. And that kind of like, it really made me think, like I was thinking, like, is there some sort of like deeper meaning? I guess it's because that's what you're so used to, and now that it's kind of become like embodied you know, like it's almost become like a part of you. And that if you, to be honest, I really like that, because you can adapt so much. Like for me, I'm literally, we're like, so like, we're polar opposites in our situations, but our kind of character is still the same, if you get what I mean. Like, I feel like, because you've been through, like, you've kind of had so many hardships. I'm like,
I feel like I've lived a life already, but
it's like you've lived.
It's beginning now. That's my
exactly. There you go. It's a new chapter. That book's already, the volume 1's gone. Yeah, we'll let that collect dust. Yeah. Chapter 2 it's going to be called LSE stress. There we go. It's gonna have to be beat stress soon. But anyway,
like, he does all my homework stress. Oh no, not stress. He does all my homework, and
no, trust me, we're gonna be probably sitting in. What is it? Have you ever seen the? Sorry, we're probably going off tangent, and sorry viewers, but have you ever been to LSE library and like the beanbags at the bottom? That is going to be my new home. Just sleeping.
It looked like, when you look down on it, that place.
It's like a whole sea of beanbags. That's basically, I'm gonna do a sleepover in the library. So
I've never actually a sleepover in the library. Wait, is it 24/7?
Yeah, it's 24/7. You can literally do that if you wanted to. Like, I remember I was speaking to people.
That'd be quite fun.
And exactly. They fully, like, they stayed from like literally from night all the way to the morning. Like, I respect them. Like, that is dedication. I was gonna ask you, like, this is probably personal, and if you want to cut it out, don't mind. Because for me, I never really spoke to you about this like properly, but I feel like probably now is a good time, because I want to know your kind of like thought process. And again, it's all about like action, how you got yourself out of the mindset. But because obviously you mentioned like about your like anorexia, your alopecia, and everything like that. Like, how, like, when did that kind of start, and like how did you overcome that? Because obviously that is a tough thing to go through. Like,
I'm going through it right now. In fact, like, what people don't know is every single day especially these couple of months have been super bad for me in terms of alopecia. And it's actually really, like, it's been many years of struggle before I got to this place, I would say. But if you want to listen to this long rant, do you want to? I don't know. It's probably.
No, trust me, I do. Like,
I need to ask you questions. I feel
no. Present.
Don't you like talking?
Listen. Like, again, like, whenever I go on call with someone, or whenever I like speak to someone, trust me, I'm like, for me, the kind of value I gain is hearing from other people's experiences, and then I kind of like latch onto that, like, because I feel like when I hear someone's experience, then I kind of form my own like thoughts and like mind, and then that's where the creativity. Sorry.
Feel free to like interrupt me.
Yeah, no, don't worry. You already know me. I waffle a lot. I probably will interrupt a lot, so I apologize. But I want to hear it. I want to hear it because I think like, it's a lot. It's something that like either people that we might not even know are going through, and they probably want to like maybe hear from your side, and relate.
So my story started when I was 9. So I had an amazing childhood when I was UK, and then I moved to Hong Kong. And then I had this, like, I didn't speak Chinese. I literally knew nothing about the culture and anything, and I was just completely dumped into a traditional Chinese school. And I used to go to a different school. I never went to a traditional British school before 9. I was in this specific play school, so it was all about enjoying life, playing, rather like spiritual kind of, no homework and anything. And so from that, completely like 360 degrees flip over to a school where there's I think there was like 30 or 50 people in my school to like a place where there's 1,000 people in the school, and all speaking Chinese, and exams all the time, tests every single week for the subject.
Yeah, it looks insane. I could never do it.
Yeah, so it completely thrown in a super, like from a really relaxed state to a super stressful state, and I didn't know the language. It was a complete shock to me. And so I tried to be like interactive and stuff, but I just couldn't speak the language. And I looked a bit different. I was a bit more white because there was literally no British or mixed person or there was one, but yeah, in the school. And so I felt really out of place right away. And to make things worse, people started to kind of realize my grades were always like 0 out of 100, 1 out of 100, 2 out of 100. And I feel like, like what year is that? It was primary school, year 3, year 4. People like to make fun of you. And so every single day I would just be like made fun of for like how dumb I was. And like this, going back home in the school bus, it would always be me, the topic of like what grade I got on the tests. There's so many tests, and it's just, I don't know why people love to talk about the, like, every time I rate, like I have a test, everyone would come to me like, oh, what kind of low score did you get this time?
I feel like it's so, in terms of like the exams and like kind of the pressure in Asian countries is like next level. And that's the thing, like it's almost like, for me, it's like so weird to hear that, because like for me, like the presidents I've met is like way flipping smarter than that. Like I guess it's one of those things where obviously when we're younger we're unfiltered, and it's just, I guess it's like that group mentality. Like when one person starts, that's it. Everyone just latches onto it, And it just I don't know. That's just really grows me. Anyway, yeah. Continue. But
yeah, that's why I keep telling people, like, never look down on anyone. You never know. You never know who they're going to be in a few years' time.
Exactly.
Change. Like when 100%. People just keep looking down on people based on what they're doing now, and like I just want to punch them in the face.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Like I've had like many experiences where like. I've kind of seen, other people, like, for example, they have like a certain reputation, like in school, like people, wouldn't really like speak to them or, whatever. And it kind of just like, it just makes me sad, like, because like now it's quite funny. The people that were the most popular, the people that are the most smart, now it's the ones that are like kind of the underrated people, the people that were never in the scene or, seen as like the main people. They're the ones excelling right now. They're the ones doing something with their lives already. They're the ones, setting up their own businesses. Like literally, like for example, I saw, someone that is setting up their own business. Like they have, thousands of followers on, Instagram, whatever, and they're doing way more than anyone else has ever done in my, in my school. And they weren't exactly your stereotypical smart person or stereotypical, oh yeah, they're going to be the ones that make it, And I think that's where it comes from, the whole, like titles, like the whole placing like tags and everything, because I think like it was quite funny. Like, so basically when we had prom, sad times for the current year 11s.
I didn't go to prom, and I was excited for this year's prom, and it's cancelled. So.
Oh my, okay, yeah. This is like just, it's like, President, your story is insane. Like, like the more you speak, the more I respect you. It's insane. Like
I didn't
never
go
had a good time.
That's good.
No. But I'm saying in the sense of like, it's just like, because the things like the small things that you look forward to just never happens, you know. Or, like, do you get what I mean? Like, it's just like, for me, that would be like, oh my days. Anyway, I'm going on, but like basically they had this thing where everyone had to vote for, like, I don't know, for example, you know, prom king and queen, like, you know, like kindest person, funniest person, all of that stuff. And what I realized, like, most of it was just a popularity contest. Like, everyone that won, bar like a few people, were like mad popular, and it goes to show, like, people kind of correlate popularity to success at school. You know, like, you get what I mean? Like, well, a lot of people, they instantly think, oh yeah, because they're popular, they're gonna go places. But then it's the people that are like quietly behind the scenes grinding, they're doing their thing. They're the ones popping off in flipping uni and whatever they're doing. Like, so that's why, like, again, like you said, like, I hate it when people underestimate others. Because, like, who are you to kind of judge, you know?
Yeah, like,
anyway, continue with your thing.
I was just really, I was confused as to why I'm working so hard every single day about tests and exams, and I'm still getting these 1s and 2s out of 100s. Like, it's impossible. I'm never gonna get to a place where I want to be and stuff. And like the bullying just got me very insecure. Like, I was like, since I feel like because studying psychology A level, getting back to this, like childhood experience really affects future. And so I was just always conditioned from a young age that I was never good enough, and that I was dumb, and that no matter what I did, it was just, you know, not good enough. And so I became really insecure, very quiet, from that bubbly person in the play school to like just really quiet, and just never spoke because I didn't even know how to speak language. But I didn't, behind the scenes, I didn't give up on trying. And so it took like from year 3 to, you could say, year 6 that I finally got to, not the best in the year, but the best in the class. Hey. And my class was the worst. My class was the worst. In Hong Kong, you don't, like, it's pretty interesting, the difference. Like, you stay in the same class every year, and then the teacher comes to you for the lessons, not the other way around.
No. That happens everywhere. Like, because I remember, like, when I was in primary school, like, everyone used to just stay in their own kind of, like, do you know how, like,
secondary school as well. But like in the UK, like, you go to different classes and like you have different
okay, I get what you mean.
Every subject. But yeah, so this one was like, I was always allocated the worst class in the year, and I got the best in that year. But I don't like that, because when you're kind of separated in terms of classes, you are basically, they are forcing you to surround yourself with people who aren't motivated, and so that you don't.
No.
But
I think that's such a key point, because like, I, like, you know, kind of seeing how like sets work in, I think it's a bit backwards, you know, like the way sets work in secondary school, because literally, like, the people, because I feel like you need that kind of role model in a class, like, because everyone, like, in my opinion, either has a role model but it's informal, or they know that they have a role model, you know. And I think like, especially people that are, you know, not motivated or whatever, if they see someone putting in the work, they're like, okay, and you can like learn like subtle things from them, you know. I guess it's just then everyone will be like, oh, you know, or how about the, you know, the because obviously, like, sometimes when you're in a class full of demotivated people, the kind of people that actually want to do work don't get work done as well. So I guess it's like a fine line to balance, you know. But you know, honestly,
same as my thoughts on like grammar schools and comprehensive schools, like, because I went to both, there's like a massive difference in terms of, you know, motivation and people's goals, and why can't there be a mix? Like, I feel like it's really important to have, like, when I was in comprehensive school, I was literally the only, like, me and a few people were the only ones who were really focused on like getting the best grades, and other people were like, you know, focused on just going on to play. And then when I went to grammar school, I became bottom again, and everyone was like, I never ever in like thought of applying to Oxbridge or LSE. My goal was like University of Essex, around that far. But it was because I changed to grammar school, and then I saw everyone aiming for Oxbridge and LSE and Warwick and Durham, and I'm like, I didn't even know there were these unis. I never did really research. Because they were like all aiming high, I was like, why can't I try too? Maybe I'll try as well. So like, imagine if there's like just a mix, just allowing more grammar schools to go to grammar school type people going to like comprehensive school, and just like, mixing, because I feel like, I'm always like, how strongly I feel about surrounding yourself with the right people, because it really changes everything.
That's so true, because like literally I feel like you are defined by the people that you're around, like simple as, in my opinion, because like, for example, like naturally, that's why I kind of, in a weird way, I loved A levels more than GCSEs, because with GCSEs, like, you were just put in sets, and that's all who you knew. Like, obviously, it was all nice, to get to know people, whatever, but it felt a bit like kind of restricted. Like, I felt like I knew people more at A level than I did at GCSE. In the sense of like, I could speak to literally, well, I guess I could speak to anyone either way, but in terms of like the thing is, I'm kind of naturally inclined. Like, I love helping others, and I felt like my kind of efforts are best placed when there's like a mixed group, because then like I can help out others, they can help out me, and I feel like you can always benefit either way. Like, if you're always stuck in a single, like, I don't know, let's say you have the X amount of top people or X amount of bottom people or whatever, like how they say anyway. I feel like you're stuck, you're limited in the mindset. Like, it's either, okay, you're only going to the top unis, or you're only destined for the bottom.
There's no middle.
Exactly, there's no middle ground. And I think like having those mixes, like there's so many things that I kind of learned from people that I would never have if I just stayed in the top set, or if I stayed in like a select group, And I feel like people really underestimate having a kind of a range of people. Although I do feel like it is key to have like your inner circle, like you're kind of like obviously presence is not part of that, but no, I'm messing.
This podcast is about to end, I'm sorry.
No, but honestly, like literally it's quite funny to think how like how my life has almost changed, like literally from like just LinkedIn alone, like meeting like you, meeting Emmanuel, meeting James, meeting Andrew, meeting all these amazing people. I apologize if I didn't mention your name, but it's just the list is too long. Too long. But like literally, like you're basically like my kind of what I like, who I want to surround myself with, because again, like I still want to surround myself with different types of people, but then you want to have that core group, Anyway, I want to hear your story, because I
think I like this type of stuff. We're talking about again.
So it was from like year 6, getting the top in the class.
So I got the top in the class, and then I realized, the bullying did start to be a bit more quiet, and people started to expect me getting top grades instead. And then I thought once I went from really bad grades to top grades, then I would have no worries, everything would be fine. But okay, the bullying did stop, but now I have the pressure of maintaining that and always being the top to avoid going back. And so I changed, but then at the time that was year 6, so I changed to secondary school. But I still had that mentality, because like I don't want to be bullied again, and I need to maintain these good grades. I was like, I became basically a studyholic, and it was nothing. I didn't care about anything but getting top grades. And eventually in secondary school, I got to like the top in the year, out of like 200 something people. But I was really miserable though. I thought I would be in a place where I'd be really happy, and I would be, I feel like I won. I've done it. I've done it. But actually, I was super miserable because I didn't care about anything else other than the grades. And if I got less than 90%, I would just beat myself up for it. So that's that. But but during that time, I then started to get comments on how, I guess, puberty, everyone starts to care about how they look and stuff. And I'm someone, because I'm mixed, I have, and in a Asian school, everyone's kind of smaller frame. I have bigger shoulders than Asian people, and I was, like looking in hindsight, I was completely healthy, and I'm lighter than I am now, and I was just really healthy kid, and I had amazing thick hair, and like it was I was great. But I started to be picked on for being, I guess, bigger framed, which I wasn't. And people started calling me names like alien. And again, because of the previous experience of knowing that, if I change who I am, then the bullying will stop, and I will be, maybe after this change, I am going to be really living life. I'm going to feel really happy. And so I still remember, like, it was the summer holiday, and I said, okay, I'm ready for a transformation. I'm gonna go back to year 8. I'm gonna be super good body and just to show them who I am. And then I googled this, how to lose weight quick, came across this 1 apple a day diet, went on that for the whole summer. And then I did lose a lot of weight, and then I went to school and everyone started complimenting me how I looked so different in a month, what have I been doing and stuff. And then I thought, oh, this is quite nice. I guess I did the right thing. And then like the first few months was good because people did stop saying names. I started to get a bit more attention because I was also really smart. And I was afraid of going back, and I said, okay, I need to maintain this. And I thought to maintain it, I had to keep up with this 1 apple a day thing. And then I did this for like a year and a half, and then started eating a bit more. Basically, at the end of year 9 was like when I went back to the UK. But just before then, because I was maintaining this, like I literally had I was a teenager who had no clue how to lose weight, and I had no idea what calories were, what fitness was, or I had no idea what anorexia was. Like in Asia, they don't teach. I've never went to a talk about mental health, never.
The culture.
I literally no clue about what mental illness is, and I never thought I had any problem. I thought it was completely normal. And so so I maintained that kind of not eating lifestyle, and so I became like every day I still remember my routine, because schools would start at 8, so I'd wake up at 6 because I had to take the bus to school and stuff, and then just 8 start school to 4. And in Asia, like in Hong Kong especially, it's completely normal for the teacher to tell you, I want you to stay after school for 2 hours and do this work, like completely normal. And then it's funny when I went to the UK and to stay back, like, oh my gosh, my teacher told me to stay back for half an hour. Can you do that? I can't take that, it's too much. And I'm like, I literally stay back every day for 2 hours after school.
It's like natural to you.
Yeah, it's like normal to me, and I do it even if people don't tell me to anyway. I literally live in school in Hong Kong, but I didn't want to go home because I was hiding. I was like, when you don't eat, trust me, you feel weak, and your brain changes. The hormones in your brain changes. You become depressed. I was so depressed, and basically I stayed at school because I didn't want to go home. I didn't want anyone to see me. Like I literally just hid myself in the library every single day until like 6 p.m. and then I would go home, and then it would be like 8, and then normally my mum comes home at like 11 p.m. So it would be just me at home again, studying, not eating, and until like 12, and then just repeat that every single day for like a few years. I just like thinking back, I just felt like, how did I manage to do that? I was literally, that's when I feel like I've really lost my identity. I've lost who I was. I felt like a robot, just constantly doing these habits every single day and just not thinking who I am as a person. But that comes because I literally didn't eat anything, and there was nothing else I could focus on other than, I'm hungry, but I'm not going to eat because I hate myself. I don't deserve to eat. And I need to study because if I don't study, then people are going to bully me. So that was my mentality for like many years. And then,
I just want to say, like, that's so powerful, because it really goes to show how your like childhood dictates so much of your like teenage years and even going into adulthood. Because like, look, think about it, like when you went back to the UK, like that might, like, people would think, oh yeah, you don't need to be in that mindset anymore, right? You're away from, like, like China, Hong Kong, like Asia, basically. You're out of that kind of atmosphere. But it's almost like you took that piece with you, like that kind of chip on the shoulder. And it's crazy to think that, like, even though the expectations here are different, maybe it was the same. I'm not sure, like, because obviously I haven't heard your story entirely, but don't worry, I'm telling you, like, you don't understand how much I love hearing your story. Like, it's like, as sad as like the actual story is, there's so much you can gain from it, and that's why I would really want to do
the ending as well.
exactly. So I mean, no, definitely. But like, I just want, it's like, it's the fact that you your mindset was still locked in that kind of box of, you know, oh, like I hate myself, I need to be like, you know, still like, you know, skinny or less like
I was a skeleton, honestly.
Yeah, and then like, but the, you know, like obviously that's such a hard mindset to kind of like, it's like once you get trapped in, it's like a vicious cycle, you know. And then on top of that, with like your like studying, like I was just kind of like when you were kind of saying your story, like the two main themes came out to me, like it's from the bullying that made you kind of dictated your life into just two things, like two things just dictated your whole life, like and then that kind of like had a knock-on effect. And it really goes to show like it's like once you kind of step back and realize like, wow, like this is just something that has affected me from so long ago, is still kind of like on my shoulder now. And I think that you've like, obviously as the story goes on, I think you've like come to realize that. And yeah, like honestly, continue. I want to hear this.
Wait,
so from year 9, wait, is that when you started to realize, or were you still in that state of mind?
I was still in that state of mind. I didn't change until like 2 years ago. So yeah, I was super like, I was just super negative, depressed. And then, you know, one day finally my, like, I guess like I was a walking skeleton. Everyone could see that, but no one really said anything. But then one day my mom saw me and like she was shocked. Even though we lived with each other every day, I guess she didn't really realize how I was dying until like, and then one day like decided to go for a walk or something, and I was just I just felt my body shutting down. And I got sent to hospital because I just couldn't do anything. And I was so angry of my mom forcing me to check in the hospital because because it was like 1 week before this the stupid school ceremony, and I was like, I need to go there because this is something that I've been working on for the past few years, was this moment. And I really want to go there, and you're forcing me to check in hospital. And I thought it was going to be a checkup, and then once it was a checkup, I realized we do it with heart like rates and stuff, and my heart rate was literally like in the 20s. I didn't even I could feel I was like I didn't feel like human. But it didn't come to me that I was kind of, you could say, like dying. If I didn't do anything, then I could die anytime really, because I was so weak. And it just didn't get to me until I was there, and then
in the moment.
It's
almost like at that moment, like you literally, that's when you kind of put things into perspective, and you're like, crap, like I was just, as a 14, I was 14 at the time, and I was like, I'd never expect, like, I'm gonna die maybe in 100, like that's just how things work. I'm gonna die when I'm older. Like 14, I would never die. But you know, you kind of forget, actually you will die if you kind of do things to yourself that will make you die. You know, if you're 14, you stab yourself, you're gonna die. It's not about age, it's about, you know, like life stuff. And that's when I was like, oh wait, I'm dying. Okay, wow, what's going on here?
Okay. And then, but I still didn't wake up because I don't care about dying. I just need to get to that ceremony because that's on my mind, and I don't care about anything other than studying and getting my results, and you know, making sure that I maintain this skeleton look, because that's who I am. That was my identity, and that's all I thought about. And then, because when you're in the deepest stage of anorexia, you do not want to change. So I've talked to many people who have been in the same boat, and they agree that they don't want to change. They're just so used to it, and they're so comfortable in being sick and dying. It's addictive in a way, because you feel like the skinnier you are, the weaker you are, the stronger you are, and like you are winning in a way. But
it's like a backwards, it's like you've just flipped the tables, but like mentally, that's how it just is.
Yeah, like I would do competitions with myself in terms of, you know, I have to eat less than I did yesterday, kind of thing, which is kind of the same as now. I have to do better than I did yesterday, but like in the wrong way. Like, I have to do less than I did yesterday, or you know, I have to study more than I did yesterday. And so that constant, just always battling myself. And then, where am I going? So I'm ranting again.
No. Trust me, like, because like literally, just now, I was just kind of thinking like how it's funny how you've I know this sounds kind of like weird, but you've maintained the same drive, but for different objectives.
I think it's made me understand a bit more about myself in terms of, if I want to do something, I can do it. Like,
Exactly.
I'm a bit obsessed sometimes. I am driven and like disciplined, and I can get what I want. And I learned that I can through getting the wrong things in the past. I feel like
it's like you put your energy towards the wrong things, and then you kind of just realize, wait a second, let me kind of just change that to something more positive, and boom, like you're here now.
That's why I feel like everyone going through something and feel like they can't change, or feel like they're in a really they're in a really bad state. Don't, like, thinking like me looking back, like, don't you have so much power in you that you don't realize if you just use it a different way, if you use it in a more positive way, like you can achieve so much, like through drugs, being addicted to drugs or something. Like, you can use that negative situation and discipline or whatever you learn from it and apply it to somewhere else in life to, like, you know, just go for the life that you deserve and stuff. But,
honestly, that in itself is just like, it just goes to show like how even when you were at your lowest moments, like the fact that you turned it around, like it literally, like I think that's why I kind of wanted you to talk about this, because like
but I didn't see it at the time. I guess I never saw it. I just thought I was gonna die and that was okay. And honestly, I didn't really, I was dying, but there was no reason for me to stay in the world, because literally I was so depressed. I was always worried about people bullying me. So there was no reason why I had to stay. Really, I had no friends that really cared about me. Even, and then, but yeah, I thought it was just a hospital checkup. They then told me that I'm staying and I'm not going. And and my mom's not allowed to come, and I'm not allowed to move. And it was supposed to go on for more than 3 months, but it was after the 3-month mark, I couldn't take it. I was still really, really skinny, and I was still sick, but I had to, like, you know, every day was like, it's so hard to talk about it, but like in the 3 months of hospital, it's like worse than prison to me. You are seeing other people suffer every day. You have to, like, I'm so numb to blood tests. I literally had a blood test every single day, kind of. And now I see blood tests as like nothing. Whereas I used to be super scared of it. But now I'm like, oh, another blood test, fine. I have one like, I think in a few weeks. Like, the consequence of what I did like before, I am still suffering from it like today. I still have to do regular hospital checkups just for other things that aren't related to anorexia, aren't related to alopecia, but because of that, it came about. And so I don't want anyone to make a mistake that to go deep, to go like too far into their like dark hole, wherever they're going, to like stop early, because you never know what other consequences are going to come from it, like my alopecia, which is going to come soon. But so yeah, I just had to keep this short, but I say so much. So yeah, because like in hospital, you never see people. You're not, like, normal life, you're not in hospital. So in the 3 months I was living in hospital, every single day I would, you know, look next to me, and there was a girl, I still remember every single, like, always when I talk about her, I remember her. She's like paralyzed for life. And you know, you don't see these people until you are in a place where they are, and you realize just how lucky you are, and how you are given a normal body, like hands, legs, you can move, you can breathe properly. You're not in the bed paralyzed for life and just like breathing, but you maybe thinking as well, but you can't move. And like, you are so lucky. You don't really realize until you are put in a situation where you see other people not being lucky. And that kind of like woke me up a bit in terms of what have I done to myself, when other people they didn't have the choice. They were unlucky and they got this disease or illness and they didn't want it. But for me, it was out of my decision and what I did to myself that led me to this path. And I have to take responsibility for that.
But I guess in that sense, like, it's still like, it's not like you actively chose that, you know. It's still like, it's the culmination of everything that kind of, again, like you said, you only realize when you were in the hospital that like all your life decisions that led up to that point, you know, was like, it could have been prevented. But obviously when you're in that state, you don't realize, you know. So I guess like, you can't like don't beat yourself up about it. But I guess it was a good thing that you had that reality check, because like, who knows if it could have gone worse, you know.
Like if I continue to blame other people for it, then I probably won't change. If I take responsibility for it, okay, like I did this to myself, that means I can do something different to change. But still, I actually, like, even though I had this epiphany, I still didn't want to change, because I still really hated myself, and I still didn't see that I didn't deserve to get better. Like, it kind of actually made me even worse about myself. Like, I did this to myself, other people didn't do it to themselves. And so I don't really deserve to recover. I don't deserve to get better. And so kind of, I had to think, like, because I was being forced to eat. I literally being forced to eat every single day. It was so many tears of, like, just forcing myself to eat. Yeah, it's just really weird thinking about it and talking about it. But I'm sorry if this is, like, just really...
No. Again, if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine.
No, I want people to listen. Yeah. I hope they can, like, it's not because I want to share this sob story, but I want to show people that
you can come back. You
can come back, and you don't want to let like, if you feel like you're sliding down, you really need to catch yourself before it's too late, because I didn't, and I don't want that to happen to anyone else. And yeah, so yeah, being forced to eat every day was just hard, because in Hong Kong, again, the hospital, they didn't care about your mental state, they just cared about your physical state. At the time of this, that was #1 priority, because if I didn't eat, then I would die. So they didn't care about how I felt emotionally. They were just like, I felt like I was like an animal, a monkey in a cage, being forced to eat, because I wasn't allowed to move. I had this very strong face. I was like, my mom was like 2 hours away from home, so she couldn't come all the time. So I was literally on my own as a 14-year-old in a cage, felt like a cage, and being forced to do the thing that scared me most, which was eating. And also I was forced to not study. I literally had no books on me. I literally I vanished from school, so I'd have no exams or anything. It was literally like complete opposite. So yeah, I had nothing to study for. I had nothing to, I wanted to study, but I couldn't study, and I had no reason to. I didn't want to eat. I was so afraid of eating, but I was forced to do it every single day. Like, people would literally, I had like a few nurses just looking at me every meal, and if I didn't eat, they would just not let me go unless I finished my meal. It was so scary, and so the opposite. And I feel like that's the biggest fear that I faced. And I feel like once you overcome that, I feel like you can just really do anything. That's like, nothing else can be scarier.
Because it's crazy, because at that time, that was like your two main things that dictated your life. Like, that was you know, obviously not wanting to eat, and then you wanted to study, and it literally, like, they just were like, nope, you're not having any of that, mate.
Yeah, like, I think I did a call with Emily on her birthday, and she said something like, if you don't like take a break, then like God will force you to. Like
your body will decide for you.
Yeah, it will decide for you. So yeah, I took like nearly a year off school. That's why I kind of, nearly a year off school to just focus on recovery. And that made me, like, I was so scared to go back to school. So I can't catch up. I have so much I haven't caught up with. Like, I'm going to like start school, and I'm going to go back to stage 1, where I get 0 marks. And I did. I went back, because I went from Hong Kong to the UK. So English GCSE was the hardest thing in my life. Not hardest thing, like another hard thing, like going back to the UK, starting GCSE, English, Shakespeare, whatever that is, Christmas Carol, poems.
Oh God, flashbacks.
So again, like, starting from 0 again for me, but also, like, I think I feel lucky because I got to completely go to a different environment that doesn't really remind me of like anorexia and depression and stuff. So I kind of, I said that I'm going to leave my anorexic identity behind in Hong Kong and like come back, fresh start, new life, new people. I'm going to be back to my bubbly self again. Everything's going to be perfect again. And then, I went to the UK. I was still really sick, kind of still we call it quasi recovery. So like you're okay, but you're still not okay. So then I went to a comprehensive school for GCSE, and again started with like really low grades, but I didn't want to, again, I was still afraid of being bullied. So I was never friendly. So I never talked to people because I didn't want to, I would rather have no friends than have bullies. So I just thought, because I thought everyone I would meet would be a bully. Kind of, that was my mentality again. That belief that everyone I meet would be mean, and yeah, I don't want to be friends with anyone because no one is nice. That kind of thing. And so yeah, I never talked and stuff. So I was always quiet. And then unexpectedly, I think I started the end of year 9, like 2 months of year 9 in the UK, and then it was a summer holiday. I don't know, like I'm lucky it was in the summer holiday, but like in 1 month, out of the blue, I lost all my hair. It was like completely absolute shock. Like whoa, what's happening? My hair is like, I'm like, yeah, and like just like, not again, like what's happening now in my life? Like my life is just never gonna be okay, is it?
Like you thought you were kind of going back on track, and then this.
Yeah, I thought I was okay. Like I'm back in the UK, fresh start. I feel like I'm getting better, and my health and everything's perfect, and it's gonna be up. And then I just got straight back down. And so if you imagine a girl who I love hair. Like I'm gonna lie, I love playing with hair, and just like the most YouTube videos I would watch is about like hair tutorials and stuff. And then you have 1 month, again, never in my life would I ever believe that you would tell me I would lose my hair. I would be bald one day. No one would, I would never believe that. And yeah, it happened. And every single day, even now, it's still really hard, to be honest. Like you wake up and then you see your cushion, just everywhere's hair. You walk around, you see the floor, everywhere is hair. And it's painful kind of in a way, but like just like, yeah, so I'm sorry.
No, honestly, like, because I can imagine, because again, like your hair is also like part of like your identity, you know. Like,
and again, it's like it's an appearance thing, and I guess as like you would believe that, you know, I was bullied for grades, I was bullied for appearance, so now that I have like no hair, no one's gonna like me. Like friendship, no one's gonna like me. Romantic wise, 100%, no one's gonna take me. Like
LSE, yeah, I'm telling you, these, I'm gonna have to stop you from seeing these guys, man. They're gonna too many on you. No, I'm joking. Anyway.
I don't think I don't think so. But like yeah, because I just didn't. Yeah, so I became really depressed again. From like, okay, so I was 16 when it started. Yeah, I just became like every single day I would cry nonstop. And then I still had to cope with going to school. Yeah, I got my first wig when GCSE started. After the summer, and I went from thinnish hair, because anorexia also made my hair thin and stuff, to like a really kind of thicker wig. And like obviously it's kind of different, and people know just like, what did you do to grow your hair so thick in a month? That's like impossible. And then I started hearing people talk behind my back, like when I was in the corridors and stuff, like, I think she's wearing a wig. And then I would have like all these weird stares when I walk, like when we like queue up in class. And then there was one day where a girl just like, it was break, I still remember, I was like eating and stuff. And then like she just ran up to me and shouted in front of everyone, like, are you wearing a wig, Presence? And then she would just run, like she would run to me, shout it, and then just go, like run away. And then everyone would be staring at me. And like that just brought up, like triggered a lot of memories.
Yeah.
And so I went back to just hiding myself again, and just, you know, I say this story quite a few times, and I never get really emotional about it. I think like I heard someone say that you have to tell your story until you stop getting emotional about it.
Yeah. Well, like in a way, I'm low-key getting emotional. Like literally, like I'm feeling these feels. Oh man, it's just.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No. Trust me. Like I feel like, obviously, again, if you don't want to speak why you don't want to speak.
No. I'm owning my story.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I love. That's what I love. Like the fact that you're able to kind of say your story in your own terms, in your own way, and kind of articulate it how you want to.
Yeah.
Like honestly, it's powerful. It is powerful.
Thank you. Where was I? So yeah, so that's like that triggered all the memories of being bullied and I did not want to go through that again. And so like, yeah, I just really quiet, just not like, just heads down school. I would rather focus on GCSEs because there's nothing there's nothing I want to focus on and stuff. But I also, during that time, I became really interested in personal development. And because like, okay, it got to a point where, yeah, I was just really miserable and just thinking like, you know, this alopecia thing is something I can't control and it's going to be here for life. Like, whereas anorexia, I can control, like weight and stuff I can control, but like, how am I going to deal with this depression for life? I can't feel this way for life. Like, I would rather die again than continue to feel this miserable every single day because of my alopecia. And so I started to like find ways out of how can I, like, what do I need to do? And I started to just listen to podcasts and interviews of people like Tony Robbins, Lewis Howes, and Impact Theory, and just realized that it's all in my mind actually. It's all about me, not like for the past decade, I just never felt enough. I never felt good about myself. I never liked myself. And so I need to stop addressing the external factors, but I really need to look inside me and need to look within me and change the inside and not the outside. And so, yeah, that got me interested in affirmations, quotes of attraction, mindset, and it made life so much more fun and exciting. Like, even if I wasn't confident, I hated myself, I didn't have good grades, all the negative things were happening, but then in my mind I was always thinking of the positive things of the future and always visioning my life, the life that I want, and the confidence that I want, and the friends that I want, and the happiness that I want. That just gave me more excitement in life and stuff. And then I changed schools again because, like, after GCSE I went to grammar school for A-levels, and I feel very lucky to say that I finally went to a school that had good people. And
I'm glad.
Yeah. So I started to be, I think because it's I was a studyholic, you could like I care about grades and stuff. So I never went to a school where everyone cared about grades. And so going to that grammar school actually helped me in terms of finding people that kind of are a little bit similar to me. Like, this is the first time I found people who can relate to me wanting to have good grades and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I became friends with it, and I will always say, like, I tell my friend, there's one friend who I still remember, I was in the lot, like, it was the beginning, I just came to this school, and I was really, like, again, I was still the quiet, anxious me in the loft. Like, every time, if it's a library or a loft, I love it because it's like secret. Like, I always find a secret place to hide, and then
your own area.
Like, even now, I love going to explore secret places. Like, in my walks, I always go to like these forests and stuff. So I can't wait to go to like LSE maybe, like, just wherever I go to. You know, like, there's always going to be this special spot. Spot. I guess everyone has one, but yeah. But yeah, then one day, like, one of my classmates, now best friend, she came up to me and like introduced herself and like, "Hey, your hair is really shiny. I love it. What shampoo do you use?" And I was like,
what do you say?
in my head, I was like, I've never told anyone about my alopecia. I assumed that they would guess it themselves. And I was really insecure about it as well. And I just like, just a random shampoo, just like random one. I never told anyone about my alopecia. Like, like, for me, it's obvious that I wear a wig, but maybe for some people not really. But yeah, so that's how I met this classmate and now best friend, even though we weren't really in any classes together. And over time we became friends, and she was the first person that I told that I had alopecia, because we always talked about hair, and I was like, there's I can't avoid this conversation. Like,
you don't want to keep up. Yeah, you don't want to keep up with kind of like it.
Yeah, I can't avoid the conversation that this actually is not my hair. So yeah, I talked about, I was really scared and insecure, but I had the courage to just tell her because I trusted her. And then she was really compassionate about it, and that's like kind of the first time that I felt like, oh, like, it's okay. It's okay to tell people about my insecurities and stuff. And then like from then on, I became more confident and just okay with owning who I was and just telling people about it, which kind of knock-on effects got to where I am today, I feel like, in terms of like openly sharing not just the alopecia part, but the anorexia part and the bullying part. And then when I tell people, they have their story, which is also like, there was one guy who shared his story, and it's even more tragic than me. And you know, you realize everyone is going something that they're struggling with.
Yeah, they might have given a thought, you know, like it's.
Yeah, and I feel like I never thought talking about it would make it feel better, but actually telling someone does help. I'm someone who never tells anyone about the struggles I go through because I don't want to put pressure. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I just feel like I never want to be negative. Like I just like I have.
I guess, yeah, no, for like, but for me, it's more like this, like you kind of telling me in a way that's positive, because not only are you kind of sharing your story, because look, like if you know, hopefully, like someone's listening to this podcast, and like if they're listening to this story, like they'll find comfort in knowing that they're not alone. I think a lot of people they kind of like, again, like you said yourself, you never really wanted to tell anyone because you know you thought, oh, what will people think, or I don't know, whatever like your kind of mindset was.
Yeah.
But then once you get out there, you know that it's something that other people go through, and you shouldn't suffer in silence. I think that's the main thing. No one should ever suffer in silence.
Yeah.
Like once you actually get to speak to someone about it, it's like a weight lifted off your shoulders.
Honestly, like when I first told my friend about my alopecia, I felt like I was, like you could say, like coming out, because like I was always hiding it, and it was really hard for me mentally, even though people don't really care. Like it's all like we always care about ourselves more than other people. Like, other people really care about, you know, your hair and stuff.
It's like our own biggest critics. Like that's like I always kind of preach that, because when we always like obsess over the little things, like oh yeah, well, what will people think of me? What will people think of me? This and that. Like I've come to realize like I don't give two craps about what other people think of me in terms of like something that's superficial. Like I only matter about in terms of like how do I come across in terms of as a human being, not just. I don't care about looks. Don't care about like, you know, all that stuff. It's just more about I want to present myself, like my true self, to others. That's what I want to share. That's what I care about, how people genuinely feel about me. But yeah, anyway, continue.
Wait, what was I saying? But yeah, just like be yourself, because I don't know, it's just, what was I saying? Own your story. Yeah, don't like, I feel like just whatever you're insecure about, tell someone about it. And then you realize that actually they also have that insecurity, or they don't actually care that much. And once you realize that, you feel like that's fine. Then I can, like, once you realize it and then tell more people, you feel more comfortable in like owning it and being yourself. And that it just makes you feel so much better, even though people don't care. You telling people about it will make your life so much you just feel more
liberate.
Yeah, liberate. Yeah, that's the word.
It's like, cause like that thing, like just like hearing like your story, like for example, when you've like lived through this, you kind of frame it in a certain way that's normally a negative one. You know, you think you kind of like over obsess on the negative parts, whereas like me hearing it, like you went through that negative parts in order to get to the good parts, you know, and like at every single stage of your story, I've kind of like realized like, wow, that's where I know the real presence now, you know, like from like, you know, from the bullying, from the anorexia, from the alopecia, like all of those things, like obviously they were horrible, like, you know, experiences, but if you hadn't had them, you wouldn't have become the person you are today, you know, and honestly, that's like so powerful. That's so powerful.
Yeah, like if it, like, because I felt so down, I would never, like, my values, I'm so clear on the person I want to be. Like I'm someone who I will never ever look down on anyone. I will always try to push people to be their best selves, and like push them to change if they want to. If they feel like there's something they want to change but they're afraid to, I just really want to like just push them to it. So that's why like people like Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, Lewis Howes, I want to do what they do, but at the same time, this is something that I never, like, school doesn't really talk about, this kind of career or anything. And like it's all about finance.
And it's such a shame, you know. Like I hate the fact that we're so limited to the, like, oh, you have to be this, or you have to go down the, like, literally, I've like, yeah, like during my school time, never even had a mention of like personal development or coaching or like those kind of roles, you know. And then it's only like once I kind of like broadened my scope, started going on LinkedIn, started meeting people like you, like then I was like, whoa, there's like a whole nother world out here, you know. And I think like you're so suited to that kind of role because again, you've been through so much, and then you can kind of everything that you've learned over the years, you can kind of like you can provide so much value to everyone else. And I think that's where your kind of personal development comes from, you know.
And like I think for me, I'm really excited about this kind of careers because you have to continually improve yourself in order. You can only help people to the point you help like yourself. So like, it pushes me to always be the best version of myself. Like there's no limit. If I get better, that means other people will always get better. It will get better if I help them.
It's funny how like you doing personal development, you're helping someone, but then again, you're personally developing yourself. Like that's why like, I always feel like, because like for example, I have a mentor myself. Well, we both have the same mentor. And like just being on like calls with him, I realized like we're both progressing together. Like we both learn off each other, even though he's already established. He's a sick guy. Like you know what I'm saying. He's like. He already has this kind of thing, but I kind of realized, like, you know, if there's something that has happened to me, it kind of makes him reflect, and I feel like that will come to you, like when you, like even now, like you're reflecting on your experience. So in effect, I am your coachee. There we go. So that's what we've established here.
Yeah, it's so funny. I actually met Cam last. Like during year 12, I went to Oxbridge, like an Oxbridge day, and then he did a talk. And then I immediately, after the talk, I immediately went to him and say, I really like what you're doing, and I've always wanted to do something like this, but I like I don't know who, and I've never been across anyone, and I saw you, and I talked to you, and then we started talking. So it's been like it's year 12, like I guess a year now. We've been keeping in contact on LinkedIn. And so he's seen my part where I was really like not as confident. So it's funny to now that he's actually my coach, you could say. It's funny how
like he's literally seen you from the very beginning.
Yeah. So yeah, I think keeping like if you see someone you aspire to be and you manage to talk to him or her in the beginning, just like keep the interaction going. We've been talking on and off for like a year. On LinkedIn, and it's keep the connections. That if you really like believe in what they're doing and you want to do something similar, don't just talk to them once and leave it. Just keep the conversation going because you never know in the future what's going to happen and stuff. So
yeah, exactly. Like, no, I feel like like, a lot of people like it's a lot of like for like even my own personal experience, it's a lot of the kind of connections just like one and done. Like they'll it's like they'll just like I kind of call it like a transactional kind of thing. Like you don't want it to be where, oh, I pop up to you, you pop up to me, and then that's it. Like it's just like a one-way thing, like an exchange. And you don't want it to just be like that. You want it to be something where you can always not rely on them, but like you always know that there's someone there. And I think that's where like for example, like I don't know if you saw my like recent post, but that's why I said like you have to kind of evaluate your network because you can't lose those connections. Like for example, the people that I first connected with, like I still speak to now. Like obviously I don't always. It's not like you have to always speak to them, but it's just like making sure you always check up on them. Like, that's so powerful. I think people underestimate checking up on others. Like it's like for example, like if I see a notification from I don't know someone that I haven't spoken to in so long, it brings a smile to my face because like it's almost like like they thought of me, you know. And I think that's really valuable. Like exactly. So
I have a friend who I haven't spoken to for a while, and then I reached out to him like a few weeks ago to just check up on him. And actually, he was actually struggling a lot, and he was super happy that I asked because basically what happened was because he's not doing A levels, he's doing something similar, but like his grades are based on the work he did, and the work he did was in his USB, and his USB was in his wallet, and his wallet was stolen.
Oh man!
And he was so sad about it because he can't go to uni because of that. But he did so much work during the 2 years, and it's all in that USB. I honestly feel so bad for him.
Like
he also applied for LSE, but got rejected. But apparently LSE are doing adjustment. yeah, it's just so it's really like sad for him. But you know, if I didn't reach out to talk to ask how he was, I wouldn't say it. And he said he needed someone to talk to. And apparently, like, it was just coincidence that I talked to him. Like, I reached out to him at this time.
Yeah.
So like, really, I guess there's so many challenges I felt today. Like, a challenge right now is to like reach out to someone you haven't done for let's say 3 months.
Oh yeah, I definitely need that. Like, there's so many people that, like, I admit, I've kind of like been like I've kind of done that myself. Like, I've just haven't like spoken to people, maybe either because of time or I don't know how to pop up. But literally, just taking that initial step, it starts with action.
Oh my gosh, we only come in like twice.
Oh wow! Hey, okay, wow. So I lied. So at least I have to pick up for it now. Just the rest of the podcast, it starts with action. Anyway, yeah.
Mantra, like, yeah, it's like,
exactly,
it's kind of,
join our cult.
Yeah. Like, the LinkedIn post, I think you guys are gonna. I'm really sorry. You guys are probably gonna like, especially because I feel like you, Emmanuel, James. I'm probably gonna talk to you for a long term. So you're probably by the end you're gonna be so sick of this.
Hey, no. You're gonna be sick of me. That's where it's coming from, you know, because like I'm the one that's inactive. Actually, you know what? If I see the notification come down, I need to jump straight in there because I'm missing out. I'm missing out on all the like the juicy content, you know. But anyway, everyone's like probably so confused, like what the hell is going on right now? It went from like such a heartwarming story to like us talking about like rambling on about bloody LinkedIn. But oh my god, it's like, do you know what? That's the funniest thing. Yeah, we didn't even plan this. Like we didn't even think of like any ideas on this podcast. Like we just thought, oh, let's just get on with it. And then now look, it's probably one of the longest podcasts
it is
that you've had. Yeah, like on a one-to-one basis. And no, but I love that. Like, do you know what? That's gonna be like,
the thing is, we didn't talk about you. You are the guest. What's your challenge? What's your story? Like, we haven't even done that yet.
That's a part two. No. Do you know what? Like, that's why, like, literally, my mindset going into this was, I don't want to speak about myself. I want to learn, because again, like, when I've like listened to your podcasts, all of it has been, obviously you've had moments to speak about yourself and your own kind of little bits here and there, but I've never heard you speak consistently throughout. And I want to be the backseat passenger, you know. I want to be the one that listens to you. Yeah. So when this goes out, my title will be when the guest becomes the host.
okay, that's actually good. That's a good one.
There you go. So
I'll make it happen. So.
Yeah, exactly. You know, because that's the thing. Again, like, people, they like, again, like, so many people know you, but they don't know you. Do you get what I mean? Like, it's like they like, I don't feel like anyone has heard the raw story from like your side of things, whether that be like, obviously they just haven't had enough time to interact, or it's like, again, it's such a like heartwarming story that you can't do justice in just typing about it. It's something that you have to really like engage from your personal kind of self. And again, like, you supposedly rambling on isn't rambling on. That's just coming from, you know, a place of like actual, like, real, genuine honesty.
Yeah.
So
I guess what people don't know, like, like, about my hair thing, I still haven't finished. So, like, my hair did grow back, but it then fell off a second time, unexpectedly again, because I thought it was going to be perfect. I thought alopecia was this one-time thing, and then I started growing my hair back. I had like a short, nice hair, and then again in like 1 month it just fell off second time. I think it was actually the second time that I really decided to change. It wasn't the first time. The first time I was crying every single day, and then I saw it grow back, and I was like, "Ooh, okay, like, now my life is going to be perfect." But then it fell off a second time, and I was like, "This is enough. I have to do something about it."
Yeah.
And now this is at the moment I'm going through the third time. And it's super hard for me every single day at the moment, but I feel like because of like having all you guys every day in my life, like, I have a bigger reason to, I have more reasons to be happy than to be sad. So like, I want to say thank you to like Ejaz and everyone for like just making like this quarantine lockdown experience so good for me. Even though like in the back of the, like, behind the scenes, I'm going through some shit that is hard. I'm honestly really happy every single day because of you guys, and because I've never met so many amazing like-minded people ever. And it's now that I've got to meet you guys, and like the messages you send me, and like you guys like the podcast. I didn't think that people would enjoy that much, and it's just like you. Yeah, I would say that it's because of you guys I feel so much like.
Wow, like no, and like see that like that's what like I just love the most, like because the thing is like look, it's so natural how it happened. Like it's just like I feel like it's almost like do you know I'm quite like a spiritual person. Like, I feel like things are meant to happen like the way they're meant to happen. Like look, I flipping met you from a chat on bloody LSE. What?
It's so funny. Like it's just like. My mentality on the Q&A, the LSE Q&A was like, oh my gosh, I need to like, my intention of going on the Q&A was to ask what happens when you like get rejected on results day. What do I have to do? And so I asked that question. Not like never on earth would I be thinking that someone else would see that and then remember my name and connect with me on LinkedIn and like become really cool friends. Like no,
it's like literally it just goes to show like if I hadn't done that, we would have never had this like such a great friendship. You know, like because that's the thing. Like like same with like you guys, like honestly like especially like meeting you, like it has like been like such a mad change because I kind of just kept myself in the bubble of my school, my own friends from just like that area. But then I started to realize like ever since lockdown happened, I was like obviously I'm still want to keep my other like close friends, like obviously that's but I realized like it's a new chapter of my life. And like I kind of like honestly going into it I thought, oh crap, I'm gonna be like crazy like, alone. Like I'm gonna be like the outsider. I'm not gonna fit in because obviously again I'm not exactly the most like smartest. Like I have to grind to get the top results. Whereas like everyone else kind of has it, I guess, naturally. Like whereas like I have to like proper put the work in, and it's just more of like I thought that I wouldn't fit in the crowd. And then literally like that's why I connected with you because I realized like you asking that question is something that I was asking myself.
Oh yeah, okay, I get it now. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I was like,
are we gonna get in? I don't feel like we are.
Yeah. and then I was just like, you know what, this person like because like let me at least speak to this person because I want to hear what like why they feel that way. Because again, like for me, it's like anyone that can even get these offers, they deserve it in of itself. Like I don't think like we should definitely like put ourselves down for that. And yeah, like it's mad how like literally I believe in the law of attraction. Like you attract who you are, like who kind of like you're like-minded people.
Yeah, like-minded people. We both think that we're gonna be rejected.
Literally, like it's oh god, like we have. It's like I need to get rid of that pessimistic mindset. I need to slowly get away from that.
But like and your insurance is Warwick, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
We're literally the same.
Like
so, yeah, and like you interested in the same things in mindset and stuff. So like it's just so similar. It's just so funny.
Yeah, it's just like a natural fit, and that's why like I guess if anyone kind of takes like main message is that again from your story, like make sure that you speak up about it because again you're not alone in whatever you're going through, and it's just better you don't want to go to such deep depths that you feel like you can't get out of it because obviously like you fought hard to get back to where you are now, and also you're still going through things. Like it's not like a perfect.
I after going through that, I kind of expect life. I expect something hard is going to come. Like I never thought that I would go from being bullied for grades to being bullied for anorexia, like getting into anorexia, then alopecia. So like it's not going to be a smooth journey. I kind of expect something coming, but like I feel like I'm preparing myself for it, like mentally. Like I'm ready.
Like your mind's already like in that place of there's going to be some hard things coming, but
I'm going to survive no matter what happens.
Exactly, yeah. Like you've been through,
and it's COVID for everyone as well, actually. Like,
exactly, literally. And I think if anyone takes anything away from it, is that again, like you just have to expect hardship because once you expect it to come, then you can fight it so much more easy. Like, if you're resistant to, again, like failure, or if you're resistant to like things not going your way, then it will just make you worse. Like you need to just take it in your stride and take the lessons from that. And then again, like another point is like, please reach out, because again, I would have never met Presence if I hadn't, on a off chance, saw her on a flipping comment section, like on a Q&A, like literally, like anything can happen. Like anything can happen if you don't try, you will never know. You know, and it's again, like this,
if you don't feel like comfortable to talk to anyone, then you know that both of us are here. We are always like, even though like we have a lot of DMs, but like if someone needs to talk about their things, where they're going through, and they want someone, then we are the people who will always support you.
Exactly. Yeah. Pop up to us if you don't mind my waffling. Trust me, I waffle, as you probably know.
Actually so much more than you did. So
no.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a part 2, and this part 2 is all going to be about Ejaz, and you are going to want to survive.
No. I'm going to twist it again. It's going to be part 2 of Presence. Yeah. Honestly, like this podcast has honestly been amazing. Like,
I'm so sorry that's so long, everyone, but I have a feeling that you guys would listen to this all in one go. I have a feeling. If you did, then message me about it, because it was quite a good one. I think, I don't know. I feel like
honestly, this has probably been like, not to toot my own horn, but like it's just been one of the, like, you're one of your best podcasts, in the sense of I've now like heard your unfiltered story from start to the end. You know, and again, it's not even the end, because it's still ongoing. It's like
this is just the beginning of something new. I feel like.
Exactly, and maybe, you know, who knows, in like however many years' time, we have like it's like part 52, guys, of Presence's story.
52. Oh my gosh! Hopefully, it's gonna be all like up from now, but
exactly,
it won't be, but it's okay. And there's gonna be an Ejaz part 100, and you haven't. Yeah, you have so much. I'm sure you have a lot to talk about.
I have nothing to tell about myself. Literally, like, you kind of just hearing your story, I was just like, I haven't even experienced like 100th of what you have. Like, it just, like, trust me, my life is boring. No. That's why I wanted to hear from you.
You talked about your relationship too.
Oh yeah,
that would be interesting to hear about.
Yeah, that would definitely be it'll be one of those ones where I have to hope that no one from my family knows you and knows this podcast. So, but definitely, I think that'll be interesting to talk about. Yeah.
So everyone, that's just like a, what do you call it? Trailer or
like a preview. A
preview of part 2, which is going to come soon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll end it now, you know, like it's they're probably like, what the hell is going
on? Come on, where's the ending? Okay, so yeah, I think we should probably end this, although I don't really want to. But
yeah, it's pretty good idea.
Yeah, at the end of the episode, as you know, we always give listeners a challenge, and even though we did one, like I did one, which is weird. I don't normally give challenges, but like the one was to like reach out to someone that you haven't talked to for 3 months. What challenge would you give to listeners, Ejaz?
Oh, yeah, because again, like I was thinking, like, for me, it's probably, because again, like in the vein of using like you know, reaching out to someone. For me, if anyone, because obviously like we're both doing that 30-day challenge, right? And I don't know, I just want people to join that, like, because I feel like so many people, they're kind of restricting themselves from posting what they want to because they're scared about what other people think. Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you know, you have a LinkedIn and you feel like, oh, like, I don't know, you haven't posted a lot or you haven't posted at all, I want you to set yourself a 30-day challenge of posting every single day, because honestly, like, the value you gain from that, even if you give one person value from your post, that's like literally it. Like, that is like gold for me anyway. That's what I care about. If one person gains value, that's me satisfied. You know. So if anyone has LinkedIn or is like an influence, or like has like an ability to become an influencer, whether it's on Instagram, like yourself, like you have your Instagram posts, if you can post every day for 30 days, that'd be amazing. And yeah, join us.
Yeah, definitely, it's quite fun. And remember that nothing is clear. Like, people say, oh, I'm posting about the same things all the time, like fear, rejection, perfectionism, again. But like, you never know. There would be one day, one moment, one person needs to hear this, this message that they always hear all the time, but they needed it at this time, and it's because you posted that and they saw it, and that could change the day for them or the month for them. So yeah, don't be afraid of posting things that you feel like are obvious to you, because it might not be obvious to other people. So yeah, no, literally, like I echo the same thing. Like, you need to, because again, like, it's one of those things where your best posts come when you don't expect it. Yeah.
Like, you know, like we both had posts where we probably, like, I definitely had posts that I thought would fail, and they were one of my most popular.
Yeah,
you know?
it's weird. Like, I don't know how this LinkedIn algorithm works. Like some posts I think, oh, this is a good one, and it gets like
Yeah, exactly.
like, I don't really care about this one. I'm just like, there was one about, I think, school or something. I just wrote it. I was just really bored, and like, this idea just came. Let me just write it. I don't expect anything, and they got like 50 likes or something. Whereas one other thing, oh, wow, this is a good idea. Just write it. And they got like 10 something. I'm so
Again, it's all about trial and error, you know. And again, you won't know if you won't try.
And that's fun. And like,
yeah. Exactly.
If writing a post is that challenging for you, then like you might, you know, it's through like going through these like mini small challenges that help you like do other bigger things. So.
Yeah, exactly. And again, you literally, again, to probably close this off, it starts with action.
It starts with action, guys, and yeah, take action by doing the challenges and reaching out to me and Ejaz on LinkedIn and Instagram. I'll post everything in the description. And this is really the longest episode I've ever done. Hope that it's for you guys.
Record.
Everything happens for a reason, and whatever you're going through now is going to be like, you're going to look back and you're going to realize that everything that happened for you, had a reason. And no, I wouldn't be talking about mindset. I wouldn't be doing this podcast. I wouldn't be talking to Ejaz if the stuff before didn't happen.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm gonna end this because
it is crazy long. Like,
so I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. It was very unexpected. Ejaz was supposed to be the spotlight. So that's just my story. And if you relate, if you resonated, if you liked it, then please reach out to me, DM Ejaz if you want to talk about anything. If you could leave a few stars on Apple Podcasts and a review, that would be much appreciated. And connect with me on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, and until next time. Next time will be Ejaz part 2, and it will be all about Ejaz, not me. So until next time, guys.